Most people have no idea how much their car accident claim is really worth, and most get way less than they could. I'll reveal how much you may get from your car accident case. You'll see which cases can get you $100,000 or more, and which cases you may get just $1,000 or nothing. Most car accident claims fall somewhere between $1,000 and $25,000 when injuries are small. Cases with a broken bone or injections are often worth over $25,000, and cases with surgery are often worth over $100,000. But sometimes the right facts can push a minor injury case settlement way higher than the $5,000 to $25,000 range. That's exactly what happened in a recent case of mine. David was behind the wheel of an SUV in Orlando transporting it for his company when another driver slammed into him from behind. The force snapped his head back, and for a few seconds, everything went black. But just a few seconds later, he was awake. He told the paramedics the crash had knocked him out briefly. That kind of damage may look like just another repair bill, but the real story was David's injury. And the SUV wasn't the only one torn up that day. The other driver blamed David for slamming on the brakes, causing him to hit her. Doctors didn't find any broken bones, but his pain was real, and soft tissue cases are exactly the kind insurance companies love to minimize. An ambulance took him to the hospital. If an ambulance takes you to the hospital, it usually adds value to your pain and suffering claim. However, as you'll see, it's not the most important factor that determines how much money you may get for your case. While David lay in the hospital, he worried. Would the other driver's car insurance company even take his case seriously? Would he be able to keep working to pay for his bills? Adding to the challenge, David already had pre-existing neck and back injuries. With the impact not being huge, the car insurance company could argue the crash didn't cause or worsen those injuries. That's actually one of the biggest things that affects how much money you can get. Insurance companies love blaming pre-existing injuries to drive down the value of your claim. So if you've ever wondered why two people in the same crash get very different payouts, that's a big reason. After the crash, David completed our form for a free consult to see if hiring me made sense. We spoke and he decided to move forward. Like David, many people aren't sure if hiring a lawyer is worth it. That's why I offer a free consult so you can find out before making a decision. One of the first things I did was connect David with a workers' compensation lawyer. Workers' comp covered his enormous hospital bill, more than $233,000, and his lost wages while he recovered. But workers' comp has the right to get paid back from any settlement. Here's where having a personal injury lawyer mattered. Under Florida law, workers' comp had to cut down what they collected to account for my legal fees and costs. And if David's injury case was worth more than the other driver's $100,000 policy limit, workers' comp would have to reduce their payback even further. Without a lawyer, David might have owed workers' comp most of his settlement, leaving him with little in his pocket. Before the car insurance company even saw that hospital bill, their adjuster tossed out an early offer of just $10,350. That might cover an ER visit in some crashes, but it was nowhere near enough for the injuries and hospital stay David faced. Offers like this are common. The insurance company hopes injured people will take quick money before the full extent of their case is clear. Most injured people, under stress and staring at bills, take that kind of offer. If David had done that, legal fees and medical paybacks would have eaten up most of it, leaving him with almost nothing in his pocket. David continued treatment for his neck, back, head, and wrists. But when it came time to value his case, the other driver's adjuster brushed off his $233,000 hospital bill as outrageous, insisting the charges were way too high. On his own, David would have had no leverage to fight back when the other driver dismissed his medical bills. And that's where strategy mattered. Still, we pushed forward. Just 67 days after the crash, the other driver's insurance changed course and offered their full $100,000 policy limits. Before cashing the check, we checked for more insurance or any employer coverage that could add money. Only after clearing those issues could the settlement move forward. After my fees, cost, and workers' comps reduced payback, I was able to wire David around $54,000. The settlement funds were wired straight into his account 117 days after the crash. No delays, no waiting for checks to clear. But we still had another fight. The insurance company for the car that David was driving had $10,000 in coverage, but they told us that they weren't responsible. I demanded that they pay workers' comp, and they finally agreed to do it. It was a fight. This put another $10,000 in David's pocket that I wired him. For David, that payment meant more than just numbers on paper. It meant his hospital bills didn't crush him, his workers' comp worries were lifted, and he could finally move forward with relief instead of fear. Cases like David show how even when the odds feel stacked against you, the right strategy can turn a difficult claim into a real recovery. So in simple terms, minor injury cases often settle for $1,000 to $25,000, but when medical bills, policy limits, or liens come into play, that number may jump to $100,000 or more, like David's case. If he'd faced the car insurance company and workers' comp alone, the result might have been a $10,000 lowball, or worse, a settlement eaten up entirely by liens. Instead, he walked away with over $64,000 in his pocket. That's life-changing. If you want to see which injuries usually pay the most, watch this video right here or click the link in the description below. And if you've been injured in a car accident and are considering hiring a lawyer, click the link in the description below to see how I can fight to maximize your payout.